Well, it's wonderful to see all of us together as we near the end of our SLS Lithuania 2013. It's been such a tremendous pleasure for all of us. I know we've been talking a lot about what an exceptional year this has been, what an exceptional group we've had. And I want to thank again Užupio for that. So I want to remind everyone to try to keep to the 5-minute limit. And also to feel free to get up, go get a drink, walk around. That's why we're outside, to be more comfortable, to be a bit more casual maybe. We're very, very happy to have our publisher in residence from Fence Books, our very own Rebecca Wolf, will bless us with some poems.
And this is just a poem that I wrote right before I left. It's a very placid American experience. It's called In the. How strange the road at 5 a.m. exactly wakes up Computrix. Were it to venture successful manumission, half seen and trill and ululation, down dark dawn in the quickened register, a hill I know full well in my imagination. Simpers to the bay, drown, plain dissolve, shatters against black remaindered sheet, scuttling pixels making for the hills, rattling sand and ever-clearing throat, unpathway through a mind and heart in occidental counterpart. Shut up the clamshell, edutrix, infotainment tricks. Plain sight lurks sooner still, and comes and breaks the musing heart upon a rock, the breathing heart upon the margin, and leaves its single-celled metonymy a one-note lung, deciduous in tree, clucking for the morning to arrive, knocking its heart up its throat against the bark of morn, an arc, make it stranger still. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next, please welcome an old friend of the program, Anna Halberstadt.
I decided that today I'm going to read two fairly serious poems and one poem that was written kind of tongue-in-cheek, because in my professional life I'm a psychologist and I specialize in work with immigrants and cross-cultural psychology, so I've always trained people to deal with stereotypes. And a magazine in Texas accepted it, but then, together with other poems, but then the editor said that he was afraid that somebody would sue him. So I decided I will read this poem. The first poem is called I Was Reborn. I did not appear from sea foam like Venus. I was born in a hot cauldron in the pine woods near Vilnius. Lithuanian witches have been mixing the potion, mix of sweat, blood, tubercular phlegm from the lungs of young poets and artists. Coal dust from chimneys in medieval cobblestone streets, pigeon feathers and cat fur. Also, morning dew from the fields of linen and buckwheat, fragrant berries from wild raspberry bushes, chanterelles and green velvet moss, warm from late summer sun in Lithuanian forests. Then I was murdered together with grandmother Frida and uncle Rubin. Frida's 102-year-old mother, my mother's parents, Liba and Moshe, her 22-year-old baby brother Leibela, Leo, a blonde boy with gentle green eyes. Her first love, the handsome socialist Arya, 6-year-old Sarah shot in the arms of Aunt Alta, who would not give her away. Mother's 12-year-old cousin, whose name I do not recall, her picture with a rag doll hanging in her right hand, I still have in a family album. I was reborn when my parents met in 1947. My beautiful mother was looking at a pinstripe gabardine jacket in the window of a resale shop on Komjaunimo. She and father first met during the war, someplace between Kursk and Orel, in the 16th Artillery Division. I was reborn when they took a photo with me at 2 weeks of age. They were sitting on the grass in Vingio Park, mother smiling in her white dress. I was reborn when she cooked and baked with her sisters to celebrate Passover, when they sang Katyusha and painted each other's nails red. My father was wounded several times. Fragments of the bullets remained in his back under the skin for the rest of his life. A reminder of 5 years in the front, where he knew what he fought against and did not always know what for. I was reborn when my son turned 17. He tried his grandfather's coat. The old tweed overcoat fit him just so. His shoulders are the same width as my father's. And I'll just read one more poem that I wrote here in Ariana's seminar. It's called Secret Garden. Secret Garden is right in the center of the medieval, half pretty, half demolished, Baroque and Gothic city, old walls covered by graffiti, ruins of my childhood, bombed out walls with glassless windows have been replaced by post-communist shabby chic Volvos parked in neglected courtyards, broken glass on the grass, mixed with beer cans and German condoms. The orchard behind my school, with fragrant red currant and gooseberry bushes that used to be tended by nuns in civilian clothing, is gone. But a path behind piles of construction materials as you pass an enormous parking lot that used to be a basketball court in the schoolyard leads to a patch of the overgrown garden with craggy apple trees, thistles and weeds facing the pink meringue of St. Katrina's Baroque on one side and a windowless building on the other, like a skull, blindly staring you in the eyes. A few minutes away on Strashuno, now Žemaitijos Street, where my childless Aunt Alta lived, her 6-year-old Sarah shot in the ghetto, nothing seems to have changed, except for a few foreign cars parked between decrepit wooden storage sheds with rusting locks, pots with chamomile and geranium, and a couple of lazily stretching cats. Old screeching wooden staircase that leads to the second floor, and Alta's apartment doors, little dark kitchen, steeped in the smells of Jewish cooking. Chicken soup with egg noodles that I hated and poppy seed cake that I loved. In the bedroom, a folding mirror with a small table, on it a painted china figurine of a gymnast, thick glass Art Nouveau bottles, a box with old buttons and brooches. My 6-year-old cousin Grishka, her favorite, because I knew she liked little boys better than girls, making lots of noise and breaking her favorite vase. Last time I had seen her in Israel, a tiny old woman who cried when she saw me in 1992, standing in front of an old wooden house in an orange grove in Netanya. There used to be an Army and Navy store around the corner on Pilimo, right across the yellow house where I grew up. Now some type of office with cars parked on what used to be a little grassy field. The small park on the left is there. The old bathhouse is now half demolished, half eaten by another building. The food market is still a food market, but looks a great deal smaller than it looked to me when I was 5. I'm turning back to the ghetto with plaques on the walls simply stating how many Jews had been rounded up and shot right here, or taken to Panari to be executed. Vilnius, my Vilna, my innocent Catholic bride in a white lace and taffeta shimmering dress with a blood-stained slip held by rusted pins peering from underneath.
Thank you, Anna. Next, please welcome Esther Bloom.
On purpose. The bosomy intellectual Litvak, my ancestor, decamped for good reason. Pogroms, pine forests, the weather. After all, where else do you need to buy a fuchsia raincoat in late July? If this is midsummer, I'd hate to meet March. But the buildings, especially in Old Town, are the color of morning light and fringed with flowers, and the stone streets roam like teenagers, no plan, twisting here on impulse and turning there until they arrive somewhere or don't. A particular sign on a particular building on a particular street I find sometimes reads integrity. 50 years ago, even 25, this city spoke Russian. Now, when I walk into a restaurant, a woman who would be a model anywhere else but who is average here greets me, hello, and hands me a menu that knows words like sandwich and vegetarian. Everyone from the older generation is furious, the way we would be if our kids all took up Mandarin without teaching it to us. The way the French were when lingua franca stopped meaning French. A stout older lady yells at me for a long time when I don't understand her. It seems to make her happy, so I let her. And she lets me buy my Coca-Cola Light, which seems a fair trade. And I say spasiba quietly, so that she doesn't need to be appeased and stop yelling if she doesn't want to. My husband Ben speaks Russian, so he soothes bus drivers, kiosk operators. Neither of us speaks Lithuanian. We both say achu a lot, which means thanks. When one of us sneezes, the other says, you're welcome. A Turkish restaurant advertises falafel. 4 glistening greenish patties appear on a plate with special sauce. Achu, I say? Skepticism evolves into resignation. They aren't bad, they're simply wrong. The waitress asks me what falafel is supposed to be. Chickpea, I say. She shakes her head. Hummus? No. 2 El Al pilots cross their legs and look out at the street amused. I shrug. Chickpea, I say again, out of ideas. Okay, she says, I will tell the cook. The pilots ask me, why are you here? To write, I say. So you are here on purpose? They are bemused, on a layover. They had never heard of Lithuania before landing. The local parents Ben and I meet in the playground, once the ghetto, are just as bemused. We are visiting Vilnius for 2 weeks? Why? Of course, they live here. They have a daughter the age of our daughter. They want to take her with them across Route 66. Her name means sun, a daily plea to the censorious Soviet clouds. Our daughter's name means cheerful. She will eat anything except baby food. When we order herring, she fights us until we give her access to the plate, and she throws herself at it like a shark, smiling through brine. She will not remember Lithuania, except perhaps her growing body will, that carnivore that only moves forward. Thank you.
Užupio сдох. Užupio сдох.